Hello, everybody. Today we're diving into what I assume will be the final updates on Absolute Superman before it comes out next week. These updates are based on DC's latest spotlight from DC Nation and the solicitations for the first 3 issues. So if you've been following my previous videos, you know we've already covered a lot about this reimagined Superman, but some of our assumptions have changed based on new details. So let's get into what's different and what we can expect from Absolute Superman #1 and beyond. Let's start with the update on his origin. So this is like the 3rd update on that. Originally, everybody thought, okay, sounds like he's not going to have a relationship with the Kents at first. He's going to show up on Earth as an adult based on what we all saw in the All-In special. Then we thought, okay, turns out he does not land on Earth as an adult. That was not his first time on Earth. He's going to not be fully formed. But DC Nation's spotlight makes it clear that Kal-El will be found by the kindly Kents when his rocket lands in Kansas. So we don't know exactly how old he is, but we do know that at least for a short period of time, he's going to be hanging out with the Kents, and he will not be fully formed. So, what does that mean exactly? Is he going to be an embryo? Probably not. I really am fairly certain he's going to be a little older, like maybe a teenager, probably late teens. I wouldn't think he'd be the same age as Wally West. But if he did get here as a teen, that could be more of like a flashback. So he could still be in his 20s for the majority of the comic, and we just find out, okay, but this is what it was like for him growing up. Anyway, unlike the traditional story where he's raised in Smallville by the Kents, this Superman is going to have a tougher journey. He's going to be a little bit of an outlaw and much more of an underdog. So instead of settling in, having a peaceful farm life, this Superman is going to spend years on the run, traveling around the world, learning different languages, living among marginalized communities. That's going to be really interesting to see. That's going to be very, very different. It's almost like in Superman where he's traveling around as a journalist, only it's not by choice, and he doesn't have the Kents to come home to. And he's not a journalist. He's working in corporate-owned farms. He's working in mines, like the Lazarus Corporation's diamond mine, I assume. And he's fighting to protect the lost and unwanted. It's going back to his original mission, which was to fight for the oppressed. And clearly the immigrant theme is going to play a central role. They have talked about him as an immigrant. It's been, Jason Aaron said it multiple times. They mentioned it in the spotlight. That is going to be something that comes up, and that's going to be an important part of the story. He's going to experience Earth from really the kind of the ground level right there with the rest of us. And in a lot of places where maybe people are struggling just to survive. Not only that, but he's a wanderer. He's an outsider everywhere he goes. Out of all the Absolute Universe so far, it seems like they've given Superman the hardest go of it, which kind of makes sense, because if Superman's the embodiment of the energy in the normal DC universe, and this is a universe powered by darkseid energy, that kind of makes sense. He'd be the one with the toughest go of it. And add to that the fact that he's the most powerful. Well, a more powerful person, they need more disadvantages to make them underdogs. The spotlight also gave us some insights into his personality. They compared him to Mowgli. They said he's a wild boy, kind of like Mowgli from the Jungle Book. He's got that unkempt hair that we've seen and a fierce side, but then he's also got what you kind of think of as that Clark Kent, bashful, clumsy side. The main difference is that in this version of Superman, that clumsiness or shyness or whatever you want to call it is not an act. It's a part of who he is. He is what DC, they call him a walking, building, leaping contradiction. Because on the one hand, he's going to get out there, and when the world needs saving or somebody needs helping, he's going to get after it. He's going to be boldly going out there and fighting for people. But in his day-to-day life, it seems like he's going to be a little bit more like what we expect of Clark Kent. even though the reasons for it will be different. It's more like it comes naturally. Now, in Absolute Superman #1, everybody thought that he's going to get here as an adult and go from there. But the Kents are at least going to be his first point of contact. Even though he meets them, it doesn't sound like he's going to have that full-time family kind of feel. So he's going to be out there on his own. I'm going to be interested to see what the Kents are like, and maybe they're farmers. That would make sense. But maybe they're immigrants. Absolute Superman #2 is going to have a new conflict. The Lazarus Corporation is going to send their battle-hardened peacemakers to track him down. It seems like, based on the spotlight, that that's probably where he works. He's maybe working there and he's going to become aware of some wrongdoing. Maybe the corporation is knocking people out of their homes, or who knows what. I would guess that he's going to stumble on something that is not being done right, or something wrong that is being done, and he's going to exact justice. Then at #3, we are going to have a flashback to Krypton. And as we've seen already in the preview, it's a very different version of Krypton. It's not a utopia. It's going to be much more of it's got a rigid class system. It's very tough on people who don't follow the line of whatever it is that society says you should believe. We see that Lara L gets in trouble for wanting to be an astronaut. Or was it she wanted to be an astronaut, she got in trouble for something else? Yeah, she wanted to be an astronaut, and she said something about space travel, criticizing Krypton for not investing more in space travel. And so then at age 9, she is like persona non grata and never could be an astronaut. And then, of course, before anybody comes after me in the comments, remember, she is in Absolute Superman, Lara L. and Jor, not Jor-El and Lara. Jor is not going to be an influential scientist. Some people have said that they think he's a farmer. I don't know that is for sure. We know that he and Lara L. are part of Krypton's lowest class. We now know, based on the blurb for the issue, that the lowest caste is known as the Labor Guild. We know that Lara L. is at least able to do mechanic work. I don't know that we can be for certain of what it is that she does or what it is that Jor does. The thing about that you do have to remember, we know that he goes under, so maybe he's a miner, which would kind of be an interesting parallel because Superman's working in a mine here on Earth, so maybe they're mining for the same stuff, mining for that sunstone that powers Krypton. Maybe they're mining for supposedly diamonds in Brazil. We'll just have to wait and see. Superman's parents are convinced Krypton is doomed. There's nothing they can do about it. They're low-ranking members of society. They are powerless, or at least they have much less power than we're used to them having. But the preview says that Lara L. is a mechanic, so I would imagine she'll figure something out. Whatever happens, the blurb hints that it is something unexpected, something that is decidedly not what we think. So what do you think she's going to do? She's going to turn to somebody like Zod for help? Is she going to build a rocket with popsicle sticks and Kryptonian duct tape? Join us on Discord to talk about your theories. I'll put the link in the description. So what do you think of this new direction for Superman? Do you like the immigrant angle? Do you think that's going to add something meaningful to the story? Let me know in the comments. And if you're enjoying these Absolute Universe updates, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss what's coming next.